Hey, guys.
Check complete. Let's head over to the bar.
Yes, and welcome back to another episode of the VARBAR. My name is Andrew, aka Rapping Drew, your highly blessed and also highly favored host with the absolute most. And I am joined by Chocolate Boy T, aka Toast. How you doing, man?
Come on. What it do, my boy? Good to see you again.
What's going on, my brother? Happy to see you here, man. I thought you was gonna bail out like your other brother.
Mace with that that late notice. Mace was like, you know what, man? I got a lot on my mind right now. Arsenal, a couple of L's. But nah, man, you know me, man. I always stand on business, win, lose, or draw, man. So I'm always local, my boy. Always local.
Happy to see you, man. Yeah. As you can see, no Strizza, no Mace today. Hopefully we'll see them back soon. Episode 209, and no better place to start than Greater Manchester, man, because obviously it was going over there for the past 10 years, 10 plus years. 10 years, actually, yeah. It's just a joke, man. Wake up Monday morning, brush my teeth. I'm on PTO, innit? I was on PTO last week, so...
Oh, come.
You know, did some housework, you know what I mean? Play with the kids a little bit. Get a message around midday. Erik Ten Hag's gone. I'm thinking, I'm surprised, but I'm not surprised. It's one of those feelings. Obviously, whether you're a first-time listener, whether you've been listening to us since, or whether you started listening to us when we came back, you know we're not Erik Ten Hag supporters, especially Toast. That's here, innit? So... just one time for the listeners, man, Toast. What are your thoughts about him and his time at United? I mean, you know, he's ended with 2 trophies: a Carabao Cup and a league and a FA Cup. He's finished 3rd and then 5th, I think. 5th twice or 7th, 5th and 7th or something like that. Yeah. What do you make of his tenure at United?
ETH, man. We'll pour up a little drink for him, innit, man? Obviously, he's a long-term friend of the pod, man. But I'm not surprised at all, man. I'm surprised. You said you were surprised. Like, for me, I feel as if it got to a stage, even come towards the end of last season, where every single game you felt like it could have been his last, because once it became apparent that he was not really having any sort of direct impact on the team, on improvement of players, on results, like in being just competitive, you know what I mean? And being the 13-time club that Char loves to always kind of mention, you know? So for me, it was expected. And for me, every single game, even this season, every single game that he went through and every single game United played, I always felt like it could have been his last. I think United made the right decision. I mean, from a personal standpoint, obviously, I love to see United suffer. So, I mean, obviously, if he wanted to continue, by all means, he should have continued. But from the business, football side of things, like, it was a no-brainer, really. And I think the fact that they even kind of got Ruben, obviously, this year as his assistant coach, it was always going to be a sign of things to come in terms of we didn't get our manager we wanted end of last season. We've had to hold on to ETH. We know we're going to sack ETH at some point this season. And it was just a case of let Rude basically be there to steady it for 1 or 2 games while we get our target. Target secured, like package delivered. And obviously I think next Sunday, I think as Rude said, he's still going to manage Man United's next 2 games. Come next Sunday. Yeah. It will be a new era at United, man. I mean, I think overall, like, and obviously, like, being like objective and everything in terms of everything he's kind of achieved in the past, obviously understanding that maybe they aren't as strong leagues as the Premier League. I think he was very lucky to have been a Man United manager for as long as he actually did. And it was just fortunate for him that in very pressing times, they would find themselves on a really good deep cup run that would just somehow, some way save his bacon every time. Like, all trophies are not equal in it, and Man United fans will like to kind of run agenda that but in this era we got more trophies than Arsenal. ETH got 2 trophies in his 3 seasons, but let's keep it a buck now, man. Like, them trophies weren't doing anything for United, because we weren't seeing anything consistently on a week-to-week basis. We weren't seeing anything consistently from a competitive standpoint in the Premier League. Really, those trophies were just completely papering over cracks. And for me, like I said, like not all trophies are the same, innit, man? So if United want to kind of enjoy them trophies and say, yeah, you know what, ETH did this and we were still relevant, and be my guest in it, man. But we all know, man, that this era was a complete shit show, man. And a Carabao and an FA Cup is not gonna make anyone objectively think any differently. So
yeah, I think that's what it is, man. I think Ole mentioned that in his time as well, that, you know, like getting a cup, one of those two cups, is kind of like papering over the cracks, and that was pretty much evident to see throughout Erik Ten Hag's tenure. You know, like you know, prior to him coming, obviously he had a great rep sheet in terms of like what he's done previously, specifically in Holland with like Go Ahead Eagles and FC Utrecht. Then obviously with Ajax nearly reaching a Champions League final. They possibly could have won it that season. They were that good.
Facts.
So obviously he came in as like the number one target, and you know, people actually thought that he was gonna do it. He was gonna change it for them, you know. But I think like even like his first two games, if you remember, he got hit with 4 both times. I think Brentford 4-0, and then I think there was another game where he got beat 4-0.
Was it like Brighton to start the season, like 3-0 or 2-0, something like that? It was
3-0, something like that.
Yeah.
It was mad, but obviously the game afterwards was against Liverpool, and then he won that game, and then obviously he got his United career going. But it was never good, man, because if I had to dissect his first season, where United, they claimed that, you know, he was so good, that was a Marcus Rashford show. That was a Marcus Rashford. I want a generational contract to secure for my family, my next of kins, my mom's, for everyone, my whole generation in it. That's what he was doing, and he saved Erik Ten Hag's life, man. They went on to win they went on to win the Carabao Cup as well. Against Newcastle. And then after that, when Rashford announced the contract, it all went downhill, man. They were lucky to still get third place, because Newcastle fell off a cliff. If you remember, Liverpool and Chelsea were on nonsense. We made a late revival, but it was a bit too late for us. But Chelsea was just, you know, gone for the whole season. So that season was definitely a paper of the cracks thing. You know me, man. If you show me one thing, I've seen enough. So at that point, I saw enough, man. I knew Erik Ten Hag is not doing anything in this league. The following season, it showed they were in the Champions League. They set a lot of unwanted records where like they got beat by Copenhagen, Galatasaray, Bayern Munich twice, I think.
It was a shit show, that group stage, man. Yeah.
Show, man. So yeah, Erik Ten Hag, man, I know he's Dutch and I need to show some solidarity, but really, he was an Ajax manager, so I love to see it. Yeah, man, yeah, I'm surprised, but not surprised. Not surprised, because like you said, man, he thoroughly deserved, and he's never been good. Like, this is something that you say, right? He's never been good. I don't think he's ever been good at United. Every time he was on the chopping block, you know, he had a revival of some sort, either a cup win, that would just, or he went a result that
save his bacon.
Yeah, man. But yeah, then my next question is this: do you think he will get another big job? Do you think he can still get? Doesn't have to be in England, but can he still get like a top job in like Italy, Germany?
100%, man, 100%. And I say that only because, as much as I don't rate the direction of the team, having a chance to manage Manchester United, it's basically like having like a Google or Apple on your CV. Do you know what I mean? Like wherever you go next, do you know what I mean? Like you're gonna eat by default. Do you know what I mean? So I think that he will be fine in terms of finding.
Did it really work out for David Moyes though?
Brother, we're talking the British manager thing is a bit different, isn't it? Maybe that's something we can kind of get into, innit, man? But like British managers, they don't really move the needle like that. Do you know what I mean? In Europe and just generally, if I'm honest, like, and like I said, we don't even see British managers really get opportunities like in other parts of Europe. That might be because they choose not to kind of move away, or that just might be how they're perceived. You know what I mean? Maybe they're just not rated or respected. But I mean, yeah, obviously Moyes is a bit of an anomaly in that situation. But I mean, I think overall, and if you look at his past CV as well and what he has achieved, I mean, I think he'll be fine to get another top job. I reckon, yeah, probably within a year, 18 months, we'll see ETH back on our screens, man.
I hope so, man. And they'll probably succeed as well, man. I
Mm.
also low-key think that United is just a poison chalice.
Right now.
We've seen
Yep.
several managers and we've seen several top players not doing the business. So is it them or is it the club is just jujued up, man? I don't know, man. But obviously, his follow-up, as you mentioned, has already been secured, signed, sealed, delivered. Ruben Amorim is his follow-up, the current Sporting Portugal manager, who are currently in the Champions League, doing well, who are currently sit top of the table. I think they're like 7 points clear or something. In the Portuguese league, he's already collected two league titles for Sporting Lisbon, who are like the third team in Portugal. So that in itself is an achievement. Very talented manager. Obviously, was linked with the Liverpool job. Was linked with the West Ham job as well, and he was linked to replace Pep Guardiola at City as well. Man United ended up securing him. What do you think he's gonna do? If you know anything about him at all.
Yeah, no. If I'm honest, I can't say I know that much about him, but obviously we understand that he's been a highly touted manager for a while, and obviously you can see all the interest that all these other clubs have kind of had in him. My only real recollection of him is, I guess, when was it Arsenal played Sporting last year. Obviously, a lot of people try to say that Sporting came into the Emirates and ran us at the ends or whatever. I'm not gonna get into that, but credit to them, they did get through, obviously, in that tie, and they did play us very well in both legs. I remember. I think it was a quarterfinal, in it, a quarterfinal, I think, stage as well. So it was like a pretty big stakes, if I'm honest. So just from that, I mean, he had them ready to play. So I'm very intrigued about how he's going to do. It's funny though. One little takeaway that I did read about was apparently it was like a now or never thing with Man United. He basically said that I think he wanted to come at the end of the year, and United were basically like, come on, Jot. So, and somehow United still got that pull and basically said, like, we'll move on if you obviously kind of don't sign with us now. So, again, like you said, it's a poison chalice. So, like, we're probably looking at a good 24 months before we can probably really see what sort of manager he can be and how soon he can have like some imprint on the United team, because there's just a number of players that are on astronomical wages. There are a number of players that are probably not good enough at this stage to be playing for United. There's probably a number of players that are quite loyal to the club and have been there for a long time, but should probably be on their way out, Rashford. But yeah, man, I mean, that's something we can obviously kind of get into at a later date, man. So yeah,
man. Good luck to Ruben Amorim. Like you said, it was a now or never situation. He wanted to finish the season with Sporting Lisbon. I think Sporting Lisbon kind of wanted to collect the bread for him as well, so they were just trying to push him out the door, which is pretty strange, to be honest. But but he's a very talented manager. From what he's done in Portugal, he's done bits, to be honest. But I don't know if it's going to translate in the Premier League with United, at least, because first of all, he's very strict on the way he plays. He plays with like 3-5-2 or like 5-3, you know what I mean, or 5 at the back or 3 at the back. So he's adamant on that particular play style. Looking at the United squad right now, I don't see no good wing backs. I don't see no center backs that will be good in a free. But he doesn't play the 5 at the back or the 3 at the back in a defensive manner neither. It's very high line, high pressure, run for your life for 90 minutes as well, and play good football. So, you know, maybe he might change. He might change it up a little bit. Let's see. Let's not judge. But yeah, man, Ruben Amorim is the follow-up. And with that, let's move on to obviously the game of the weekend, I guess. The our on-course Clasico. Do you know, have you noticed that, like, African uncles, they either support United or Chelsea?
Like, I saw that tweet earlier today and it actually had me rolling, because I feel as if there's just something about that. I want to say like that 2010s era, I think, early, like end of
before,
like 2000s. It probably goes deeper, but there's just something about that era where I feel like it was Man United and Chelsea kind of, for the most part, going back and forth in terms of the league titles. And you know what? You can probably say it earlier, because obviously Mourinho is like 05, 04, 05, 05, 06 teams. So you know what? I'll probably give you that. But Nah, it's actually mad. Like them two teams are really, really synonymous with them West Africans. You see, like you'll just see like in obviously in like Lagos, innit? Like there's obviously hella places where you can just kind of watch matches outdoor, and I'm sure it's the same in other parts of like West Africa. Do you know what I mean? And you always just see the area boys all in their jerseys, like ready to watch the game, trying to like look through the window if they can't get in. So yeah, man, definitely. This is definitely the uncle's derby, man, for sure.
Yeah, man. And yeah, it just finished. For me, it was a pretty underwhelming game. I don't know what I expected, but I expected goals. I expected quality. What did you make of the game? What's your take?
For me, I think the game was poor, man. And when I speak on United and I say that the soccer is not soccering and the football's not good, I get 10 people jumping down my throat. So at this point, when it comes to United, I just check out because they're not a good franchise from top to bottom. There's nothing about the team. There's no quality. There's no good finishing. I think they're the second lowest scorers in the league. Sorry, yeah, they're the second lowest scorers in the league. I think is it's just Southampton who have scored less than them. Yeah. And that should tell you everything you need to know, man. 13-time Premier League winners, and they're the 19th best kind of scoring team. In terms of the actual game, it was a penalty. I don't think Robert Sanchez can kind of have any kind of debate about that. Unfortunately, he always just has that donk moment in him, and I always feel as if he's always in the midst of maybe giving a penalty away or just kind of doing something crazy that doesn't need to happen. Like Højlund's legit running away from the goal. I don't know why you're kind of applying pressure to him in that sort of way. Caicedo, and like I said, I'm somebody that my opinion can change when I see.
We're gonna go there still.
We can go, but the theme of the day is we're 10 games in. That's what the theme of the day is, isn't it? And we'll get to that a bit later as well. I've got to give Caicedo credit where it's due. So I think sometimes you might just be in a situation where maybe it's the person you're playing next to that can be affecting how you're playing. Because for me, the whole situation of him and Enzo has not worked from day one. But ever since I've seen him play with Lavia, I'm looking at Caicedo in a whole different light. We saw the great assist that he did against Liverpool. We obviously saw a very good finish today. And even that, obviously we know goal scoring is not the main part of his game, but I have to be honest with you, like his general play is just brilliant. He looks sharp. He looks hungry again. And man, if he can kind of stay motivated, this Chelsea team, they're going to be feared in, I want to say the coming years anyway, man, because they got a young core. I think it's probably a bit too soon this year, but yeah, man, definitely a lot of potential in that Chelsea team. And Caicedo is definitely one of the players like spearheading that. So
yeah, let me read some Caicedo stats, man. That TNT Sports took out, and I was pretty like most tackles and interceptions combined so far this season. Theme of the day, like you said, is 10 games in, but 51 tackles and interceptions combined is pretty decent. Most tackles won, 61% dual win rate, joint most interceptions in a single game, which is 7. You know what I mean? So for me, Caicedo is my ultimate 6. There's no 6 in the world. If I could cherry pick what 6 I want, this is my idea of a 6. And this is what we were arguing last year about Declan Rice and Caicedo. You was like, Caicedo, he was not informed, whatever. I was like, I don't care, man, because there's a lot of things that Caicedo does that I know that, other sixers can't do. Even top sixers, they can't do. You know what I mean? And Caicedo is like a package, like a Caicedo in top form. He can do everything. You know what I mean? And he plays ball. The goal as well, brilliant taker, man. Like straight from the air, straight in. So yeah, long may it last, man. I'm a big Caicedo fan. Just unfortunate that he's a Chelsea player, man. I just wanted to go to a United player, man, but because I think one of the reasons why United are the lowest scoring team in the league, but they're also the team that misses the most chances, big chances as well. So it's not by a lack of creating, it's just by a lack of composure and finishing. And one person that's key to that is Alejandro Garnacho. Like, what do you think? I've not really seen you talk about Garnacho too tough, but what do you think about him, and what do you think his ceiling is?
It's a great question, man. It really is a great question. I am a big fan of him. I actually do really like him. I remember when he kind of like first kind of broke into the United team, and I think there was like one memorable like last minute winner that he scored against Fulham a couple of years ago. And I would say that he's somebody that he is a very consistent player, but unfortunately, he's not an output monster. And if I had to kind of make the comp right now, I'd probably say he's in the Gabriel kind of Martinelli, like in that sort of mold in terms of decent player, can be kind of quite explosive, good ball carrier, but end product and decision making is kind of leaves a lot to be desired. I think. I personally think he has a slightly more better eye for goal than Martinelli. It doesn't always kind of show up in the actual goals and assist stats, but in terms of like his ability to get shots off and his ability to be shoot first, that's definitely something that I see from Garnacho. I think he's a very quality player. I just think that it's very difficult to be like a star and like a shining star in this current iteration of Man United. So I think that's definitely working against him. But if the Amorim process kind of rears his head and turns out to be a good one, I think he's definitely one of the players that could definitely benefit, man, for sure.
Where will he play though? In the 3-5-2 as a wing back? Like, where will he play?
Do you think Amorim is like intent on the kind of tactics he's going to play? Do you think he might?
He's been doing that since. It would be strange if he would change it up for United, but if he does and he becomes successful, then fair enough. But it'd be very strange. It'd be very, very strange. But yeah, he has his work cut out, man. But yeah, Chelsea, United, not much to discuss there, man. 1-1 draw. It kind of tells a story about where both teams are. I think it's a point gain for Chelsea in this context, to be honest, because that moved them to the top 4. They're 4th now. And obviously United, they're still lingering wherever they're lingering, man. If they're not careful, they can be dragged into that relegation battle. But 10 games in is the name of the game, man. It's the name of the game.
That's it, man.
And by this, I want to say, obviously, we'll discuss the rest of the matches. Do you know what this is?
What's that, bro? Blood of Christ. What's that?
Tears of my enemies, man.
Tears of my enemies, yeah. All right, man. Hey, man, save some for me, my boy.
My enemies, man.
Save some for May, man. I don't want you to. I don't want you to not be able to quench your thirst come May, man. That's all I'm gonna say.
We are. Hey, ice cubes in there and everything. We saved that whole weekend.
Come on.
Obviously, the first game of the weekend was Newcastle versus Arsenal. Game at the Tyneside. A game that last season Arsenal went there and lost. According to them, it was dubious, but you still lost. 1-0. It was 1-0 then. Saturday again, it was 1-0 Saturday as well, courtesy of a Isak header. What did you make of this game, man? Because this had huge consequences on kind of like where you're at this current moment.
Yeah, worst game of the season, man. It was just an absolute shit show from start to finish, unfortunately, man.
Don't mind me, man. Watch your talk. Don't mind me.
It's honestly, to have one shot on target in 90 minutes or 90 plus 5 minutes is just completely unacceptable. And it was definitely one of the games this season where our shortcomings are definitely kind of showing up. I've made it clear that this season, Kai Havertz will eat by default. He's got 4 goals in, I believe, in 9 or 10 games, which for him, a player of the caliber that we rate him as, and not the way maybe others kind of rate Havertz, that's about what you'd kind of expect from him. Like 4 goals is a decent return for Havertz. Martinelli, I don't know what has happened to him, but he's just at a level where he's providing like 0 to no goal threat. And in a team like Arsenal that has so much of the ball, it's just so many wasted actions down that left side. I'm not seeing anything out of him, and it is just a massive, massive, massive waste of time. Like, honestly, watching him play at the moment. From the right side, and we can probably clip about 10 times I've said this over the years. Like, Saka is Arsenal's best player by far, but I still do not see Saka as a score-first player. So relying on Saka to create only is going to be problematic. Relying on Saka to score, be the person that gets that important goal, it's going to be problematic, and it's not going to happen. Like, I'm sure we'll touch on the Liverpool game a bit later, but I looked at Liverpool's second goal, and I mean, Salah's 1 of 1, so it's not me making the comparison, but it's the difference in the current sides at the moment. Salah picks up the ball from Curtis Jones. He takes 2 touches inside infield on Estepinian and hits it 1 time. That's not what we're going to get from Saka, unfortunately. Saka's not shoot first. Saka is create first. Saka's not the sort of person that is going to take the game by the scruff of the neck and try and score a goal. So unfortunately, you need to get that from other areas of the pitch, like your Havertz's and like your Martinelli's. Martinelli is just not contributing enough just from a goal perspective. I don't know why, and I don't know where his confidence is. Even his dribbling confidence has gone. And we had Ethan Wanieri the other day in an interview basically say he's the person that I feared the most coming up against in training because of his dribbling ability. But his confidence on the pitch is just not there, man. And for me, like, that performance from an attacking perspective was absolutely unacceptable. I said it from the beginning of the season that we needed a 9. We decided to go without one. We have to live with the results now. There's nothing that we can do about that until at least Jan. Knowing Arsenal and knowing the sort of trying to transfer policy we have, we're probably not going to sign a 9 in Jan. So this is what we're going to kind of have to deal with. But having said all that, my analysis of this game wasn't won or lost on the fact that we didn't score, in my opinion. Something has to give. And I've said it a few times in the group chat. Arsenal are currently in soul searching mode because the current Arsenal that I'm seeing right now is not the Arsenal that I've seen for the last 2 years. We have lost our identity in the last couple of games. I'm not going to say we've lost it all season. We've just lost it in the last couple of games. We've not kept a clean sheet in 6. It is just weird. Like, you look at the fact that we went to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. You saw how Tottenham played against Villa today. Never an easy fixture. North London derby. Shut up shop. Kept them out 1-1-0. We saw earlier on in the year, we went to Villa, one of the most informed teams in Europe. Let me not even say England, playing very, very well under Emery, went to their house, kept a clean sheet, 2-0. I've said this many, many times. Arsenal are not the sort of team that run up the score. We don't really win too many games outside of like the occasional, you might beat a minnow here and there with a 4-0, 5-0. We're not the sort of team that...
That's a lie. That's a lie. That's a lie. Let me stop you there.
What's a lie?
That's a lie. Because in that last season, this is last season even. Last season where you... Do you remember, like, when you lost these games in December and your goal difference was low? And then in January, you were beating teams 5-0, 6-0, 3-1, That was January this year, bro. You was running up the numbers in January and February, bro, and your GD went up.
Well,
so
it's not a lie.
So don't say...
Chill, bro. Because it's not a lie, because I said except for a handful of games. Let's look at the entirety of this era under Arteta. So we're talking about two and a quarter seasons, basically.
You smashed teams.
I'm not saying we've not smashed teams, bro. All I'm saying is, for me, Arsenal don't hang their hat on running up the score against teams. I'm not saying that we're incapable of doing it. I'm not saying that we don't do it. I'm just saying that that's not the norm. For me, what the best results that I've seen Arsenal have in this period have been the games where they've been low scoring. They've been the low scoring games where we have shown ourselves to have a defensive identity. Gabriel and Saliba, whether or not you want to say they're the best back there in the league, obviously they're not kind of currently playing to it. I'd say in the last 12 months or in the last 2 years, you can make a case that they have been. Ben White from Brighton to Arsenal has made strides as a defender. He's made strides. We've had a bit of an issue at left back, I'm not going to lie, but having Timber come in, having Kelly come in, you would have hoped that defensive identity from the left side would have been solidified. My biggest issue right now is how we're defending. Like, for me, like, I personally think that we are creative enough and we're good enough to win games. But unfortunately, right now, if you're defending the way we're defending, we're hopeless. For me, we need to go back to what has made us good, and that has been being a rugged, strong defensive team. And people hate it. People call us Stoke FC because we're so solid. We weren't conceding many goals. We're scoring goals from set pieces. What am I seeing out
Well,
there?
that's what you want. That's what
I'm
you want to
looking.
go back to that.
What I'm saying is, for me, football's a winning. Football's is about winning, innit? So, however way you win, I'm good with it. If it's a game where you're going to win 4-5-0, I'm good with it. If it's a game where you're going to win 1-0 from a set piece, I'm good with it. But my main issue is that defense, the way it's currently playing right now, is not giving us confidence going forward. And what I mean by that is, in a lot of these games where we've kept clean sheets, we know that we don't need to win by 3 or 4 goals. We know that if we can keep a clean sheet, Trossard will come on at some point in the game and impact the game, and we'll get a cheeky goal here and there. If we can keep the game 0-0 up until 70 minutes, maybe we can kind of steal a set piece goal. Like if you look at Arsenal in the last couple of years, yeah.
From what you're telling me, yeah, is that sustainable footy though? Do you think that's sustainable in terms of like, it's in terms of, because you're saying we can keep it tight at the back, even if it's like a tight game, we keep it tight as well. We know that we have Trossard to come on and nick a goal. Is that what you want? Do you not want to be, if you're one of the top teams in the league, do you not want to be front foot? Do you not want to be the one that scores the first goal? Do you not want to be, you know what I mean? Is it about,
this is low key, this is low key what we spoke about last week. I'm just keeping it a buck in terms of the personnel that Arsenal have, in terms of why we play a certain way sometimes. Like, ain't no one in Europe checking on Havertz, bro. Ain't no one in Europe checking on Martinelli. Like, when we go 2-1 up in a game and we go defensive rather than run up the score, and I know you and Strizza were saying it's excuses. For me, there's a method to that madness, bro. Because we pride ourselves on our identity of being a strong, good defensive team. That, you know what, we're 2-1 up. We have faith that we're not going to concede again, and we're going to see the game out. I mean, watching Arsenal the last couple of seasons, it's not come without some difficulty. Do you know what I mean? Like, we've seen ourselves be second 2 times back to back, but it's not nothing's been given to us. We've had to work for absolutely everything. So for me personally, for me to quickly see a change in this Arsenal team, we need to just get back to defending better. And when we start defending better and we start looking like the Arsenal we've looked over the last 2 years, I am confident that the results will come again. I'm confident that we will start scoring again. Right now, if between me and you, Andy, over the last 2 seasons, having more faith in my team in a close game, keeping a clean sheet, or scoring in a big moment, I pick the clean sheet, bro. We look at the Bayern away game is just the perfect. Like last season in the Champions League is the perfect example, bro. Like that tie, that second leg, we were so toothless going forward. We were like Arsenal in a lot of big games, particularly away from home. We've not been great. We've not been able to produce enough in front of goal. We have to keep it a buck with ourselves that for a long time we have been getting by, and that caught up with us massively on the weekend. But like I said, we're 10 games in.
I'm happy that you're honest about that. I'm so happy that you're honest about that. So now I don't understand why you will argue with me so much last week when I kind of said the same, where I felt like, and I'm saying it now again, where I feel like the defensive method of what, and I know it's you think it's like a personnel thing and whatever. I personally don't think so. I don't feel like,
what do you think
you have to play. I don't think you have to play that way. Honestly, I don't feel you have to play that way. I feel like Arsene Wenger, Mikel Arteta, either Mikel Merino or Trossard should have held bench for Nwaneri at the start of the Newcastle game. I'm sorry, because I don't feel like it's like you being poor defensively is why you're not playing well. It's you lacking the creativity up front. That's why you're not getting the results that you want, bro. I don't think it's on the defensive. Like, yes, you're shipping more goals and you're conceding more chances. Of course, that's happening. But this is the Premier League, bro. You being solid defensively all the way around, that's not gonna happen. That's not gonna happen for that long. But you still have to maintain what's going up front.
But genuinely, I disagree. I genuinely disagree. I feel as if we're going through.
Do you think with these 3 bounces in the midfield, you're gonna win anything? With Marino, Rice, Party at right back, do you think that's gonna lead you to anything?
I have to just keep it a buck about Ethan Nwaneri. I appreciate the way that Arteta has handled his situation, because it's one of those ones where he's not had enough minutes, in my opinion, to justify saying we're just going to start him against Newcastle. Because what happens then is when he doesn't perform, it's basically on his head. He's 17 years old, and I understand that there's a lot of young, very, very talented players, but he has not even got the minutes yet for me to justify to say, you know what, we're going to give Ethan Nwaneri the keys to this. Like, bro, I understand profile-wise, he's the most similar to Odegaard, but brother, you can't compare Odegaard to Ethan Nwaneri. You just can't.
I'm not comparing, but he's the one that will unlock defenses for you and create for you, and that's your biggest issue. Your biggest issue is not defense. Your biggest issue is a lack of creativity, and that is either Saka or bust. That is your biggest issue, bro.
Like I said, man, I don't think this situation right now is a quick fix. Personally, I personally think that we need to focus on what has made us successful in the last 2 years. And for me, and it's one of those, the thing is, you're saying creativity, and I understand, like Odegaard's impact in Arsenal cannot be understated. But let's not go around like it's that 10 position. We're getting like 20 assists or 25 assists a season from Odegaard. Like that. Like, so for me, I don't see it as a creativity thing. I honestly don't see it as a creativity thing.
It's not just an assist thing. Odegaard did way more than that. Odegaard picked up the ball from midfield. When Thomas started, I get that. He even the assist before the assist, the unlocking part of it.
Andy, you think Ethan Nwaneri can come in right now and do that?
I think.
Have you seen enough?
Miko Marino and Trossard are not doing it, so you might as well allow someone that has the creative juice to do it. You might as well. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying, I get what you're saying. He's still young. He's 17. But Trossard and Miko Marino are stinking up the place as well. You know what I mean?
Bro, I hear it. I do. And I think Ethan is a very, very good player, man. But the 10 position is not one you can just hand out willy-nilly to a 17-year-old, bro. Like we're talking about his long-term development here. And if Arteta does not think that he is ready to have the keys to fill that, because for me, Odegaard, we've known Odegaard has been out for a while, and Ethan's been a part of the first team now for a while now. If it hasn't happened, I personally don't think it's going to happen. I think Arteta is going to continue to trust his process. It doesn't look great, I agree, but for me, I would still be more comfortable playing your Trossard there, or playing a Sterling there when Sterling can eventually kind of get up to speed. And that's just me personally. I think Ethan Nwaneri is going to be a very good player for a long time. But for me, it's not the play. It's just not the play for me. So,
hey, if you like it, I love it, man. Let's wait there, man, because obviously now that's 3 games now without a win for Arsenal. You're finding yourself now 5th place, 7 points off the pace. We'll touch on the other games later, but hindsight, you're now 7 up now. Hindsight, you're now 7 points. Or let's say after the game, there was a possibility for you to be 7 or 8 pace behind whoever's first. You said at the start of the episode, we're only 10 games in. Your next games are against teams that are in the current top 4, Chelsea and Nottingham Forest. How do you see it? Because obviously now the draw against Liverpool last week is now looking like that shouldn't have happened. But how do you see it now? Because we're 10 games in, but it's 7 points behind. It's a deficit that's never been done before with 10 games in. Even though we're 10 games in, this a team has never clawed back a 7-point deficit.
I saw that.
Where do you stand with Arsenal at the moment? And in terms of, do you still believe that the title can be won, or at least can you still challenge for it come April, May? Where do you stand right now?
I think writing off Arsenal for the title after 10 games in November is crazy, man, personally. But in the discourse that we've had on VARBAR group chat over the last 2 days, you made a few good points here and there. For me personally,
name them, bro. Name them. Give me my shine, bro.
What I said in my previous statements just there is, for me, Arsenal need to get back to our identity. When Arsenal get back to our identity, we will start winning games. We will start. So for me, it's going back to the drawing board. What has been making you successful in the last couple of years? It's the fact that Gabriel and Saliba have been playing like the best bloody centre backs pairing in the world, and that has not happened. That has not happened. Like, I'm looking at like I mentioned, the clean sheet in the Villa game, the clean sheet in the Tottenham game. We can even go back to last season when we went to the, Stamford Bridge, kept a clean sheet, got a header in the last 20 minutes. Gabriel, we won 1-0. Like, these are the sort of performances that I've been seeing from this team over the last 2 years. For me, we need to focus on shutting out teams, and we'll take care of the rest from an offensive standpoint. We've got Chelsea coming up. We've got Nottingham Forrest coming up. Absolutely must-win games. I totally agree. If we don't win those games, I will need to have a look at this point at the performance. I need to see a completely improved performance from a defensive perspective, and I need to see a completely improved performance from an offensive perspective. For me, Liverpool had a 5-point lead on us at some point last year. And I know it's not like for like, it was Klopp, and it was much later on in the season. Liverpool had a 5-point gap on us, and Arsenal ended up the season. How many points above you? 7 points. So that's a 12-point swing. So just by using that logic, 7 points is not unassailable. Liverpool are playing very well. I'm going to give you credit. 10 games, 8 wins, 1 draw, 1 loss, I believe. But when we get on to the Liverpool game, I will let you know how I feel about how I see things playing out for this Liverpool game, because we could be having a very, very different discussion. And I know you watched the game for 90 minutes, so I know that today we could have been having a very, very different discussion.
We're not there yet, my brother.
We're not there yet. We're not there yet. But all that to say, like, I understand Liverpool playing well, and I understand that it doesn't look great at Arsenal right now. But my brother, when the games come thick and fast, and you play on a Wednesday, and you have a bad result on a Wednesday, maybe you lose a 1-0 you shouldn't have, and then you go on the weekend on a Saturday when the fixtures are piling up, and you have another tough game and you lose, and then suddenly you look to the left of you and Arsenal won on Wednesday. Oh, Arsenal won on Saturday as well. Suddenly it's a 1-point gap, and suddenly nobody's talking about the fact that this Arsenal can't catch Liverpool, and it's never been done before. Bro, if we were talking 30 games in, the way Arsenal, and I've seen Arsenal play the way we've been playing for 30 games, and I've seen how Liverpool are playing for 30 games, we're having a different discussion. But 10 games in, for me to say I can't, and for me, I don't even want to try and disrespect Liverpool or disregard everything you guys have done in the first 10 games. I'm just telling you that I don't know enough about your team, and I don't know enough about my team currently to say that it's done. It's like, bro, we can't be. And for me,
yeah, go on.
I have no issue with you and Ken's screenshotting the league table, running him out. You guys are leading right now. But what I'm saying is, there's a very good quote. Like, don't cash checks. What's the quote? Don't, like, be sure. I'm trying to think of the quote. It'll come back to me. And yeah. I'll let you know what the quote is before the end of the episode.
I understand what you mean, man. But we can dive in that further once we get onto the Liverpool game. But yeah, 1-0 loss for Arsenal at Newcastle. Good win for Newcastle. They came off 3 games of not winning themselves, I think, as well. So Isak on the score sheet again. I think back to back for him. So that's fantastic. I went on to my not my second hate watch, but like the other team in this particular puzzle, because this game week proved to be for me, it was scripted. It felt like it was scripted, and all the smaller teams, I'm not calling Newcastle a small team, but the teams that were not supposed to beat the big teams were beating the big teams, basically. And in this next game, Bournemouth against Man City, Bournemouth beat Man City 2-1 in a game that looked pretty similar to the Newcastle and Arsenal game. I had that game on the side alongside watching the Brighton-Liverpool game, and Brighton-Liverpool game looked similar to those 2 games as well. The only difference is that I think, like, in the Bournemouth City game, where like Bournemouth first half, they punched up City in every single duel. And obviously that happened in the Newcastle Arsenal game, so we didn't really touch on that. But I think that's where Newcastle won it. They were just very physical, and they matched Arsenal for the bully with the bully ball. And Bournemouth, they did the same with City. But I have to say, City looked very not fit. I think there was a few players playing with injuries. They have a lot of injuries as well themselves as well. But it was a great win for Iriola's team. And yeah, when I saw the 2-1, I thought City will turn this around and make it 3-2. But nah, man. This was yeah, good value win for Bournemouth.
Agreed.
Yeah, good value win for them, man, and they made great steps. But City also lost the game, and without Rodri, City are looking a totally different side, as most of us predicted. But they're still in the thick of it. I still see them as favourites. In regards to your point where I said the title is lost, I never said the title is lost for Arsenal. I just said it's going to be very difficult for you guys because you guys are playing catch up already, and you don't want to do that. And just take it from me, Liverpool. We've been in this position as well. You don't want to play catch up now, even though it's game week 10. Because you're also playing catch up to City. It's what Arsenal fans are forgetting. You're 5 points behind them as well. Know what I mean? So
I hear it.
It's peak. Ipswich Leicester, the battle of the relegators, ended in a 1-0 draw. Ipswich led the game for a long time, but obviously Jordan Ayew, that guy is like a Premier League court hero, man. He's very shit. I don't rate him. But that guy,
Right. This is like the second time in 2-3 weeks that he scored like a late goal in like the literally last minute of the game, man. Crazy.
Last minute of the game, man. And it coincides with like him leaving and Palace being shit, man. And then Ketia, 7 games, 0 goals, 0 assists. Hey, I don't want to talk too much. But then Liverpool versus Brighton, which ended in a 2-1 win for Liverpool in the end. And boy, similar to Arsenal, similar to City, we got punched up in the first half. When daylight was still there, like I said in the group chat, when it was still daylight, Brighton were moving to us. I was watching the game with one of my mates here. But I swear to God, I could call him now. I told him we're winning this game. Fam, with no base in my chest, because we were getting moved to left and right. Brighton, very good. Played from the back. Every single duel, second balls, they won. They every time we tried to play from the back, they won the ball back immediately. They were strong. They were technically good. For Brugge had a very, very good game. They managed to find spacing behind us a lot of times. Van Dijk was very lucky because he got bailed out by Kelleher. Where what's that done his name? Gaia or something like
Rutter.
that.
Rutter.
No. The one that gave that pass, because that pass was fantastic, to be honest. But it caught Van Dijk off guard completely. Rutter, I think he should have bagged, but it was a very good save.
Ball, the was great, man. Yeah.
Through ball was nuts.
Anyway, man, let me not speak too much on that, man. But go on.
The free ball was nuts. So for me, I was like, nah, this second half, it can't be worse than this, because this was the worst half that I've seen from us this season. You know what I mean? So second half, it kind of switched on his head, and it coincides with the floodlights coming on, the beers being chucked. It coincided with all of that. You know what I mean? And yeah, Anfield just went hype. Obviously, after the whole madness between Estepinian and Trent, yeah, the crowd got riled up, the players got riled up, and for me, at that point, especially when we scored the 1-1, I knew it was game done. Yeah, man. Obviously, you're watching this game with a keen eye because Arsenal just lost. If your Ops win, they end up 8-7 points ahead of you. You're seeing that City is losing. You're seeing that Liverpool is losing. What are your thoughts?
To be honest, obviously I didn't watch the game like live in the flesh, but obviously I had a chance to kind of catch the extended highlights, and I'm gonna give Liverpool obviously credit because obviously they ended up kind of winning the game. But like I said earlier on in one of the earlier segments, like if Rutter runs through and dinks that over Kelleher and that becomes 2-0, we're talking about a completely different game. And I completely understand it was a game of two halves, but I said it the other day, and you probably thought it was just agenda. You probably thought it was a reach. Like, Liverpool can be had. Like, Liverpool can be got at. And I almost kind of feel as if that counter-attacking play that Brighton were doing was very, very similar to how Nottingham Forrest ended up getting that win against you. You, like I said, you did come back, and you obviously got quite fortunate with the first goal, if I'm honest. And then obviously you're at home. It's very easy to kind of just go down the other end and kind of attack the goal mouth. And Salah, I feel like this is the second time you've done this now. You obviously kind of equalized. Chelsea equalized, and then you replied almost immediately. You obviously had Gakpo score, and then Salah obviously scored a great goal to his credit. But it wasn't Liverpool's best performance. We have to keep it a buck now. Liverpool are home, and they got outpassed on the stats. Brighton had more possession on the stats. And looking at that, and I understand Brighton are a good team, but it is damning, and it's a potential cause for concern down the line. And there are going to be many games like that this season where teams are going to be more clinical, and you might be 2-0 down at halftime, and to come back might be unassailable. So I would just say, all I would just say to Liverpool is temper expectations currently, innit, man, because you're getting results. But I say this every year, and I say it to every team. It applies to every team. How you react when you face your adversity, that shows who the men and who the mice are. And I'm not even going to tap into the whole you've not played anyone. Brighton are a good team. It was a very difficult game. Chelsea are a good team. Like, you've won, you drew against Arsenal. Like, you've got some good results. Like, no one's gonna say that the Premier League have given you an easy 10-game fixture list. But having said that, there are going to be tougher tests down the road. You've not had a chance to kind of face any real sort of adversity, and how you react to that adversity is going to show what's going to happen come May. And if we just keep it a buck, like,
do you not feel the Brighton game was adversity? Do you not feel that was actually like in game? I think we faced in game adversity from game one. Ipswich.
I mean, I'd say
Brighton. And we've had responses to everything.
I'd say it's in-game adversity for sure, but I'm talking about more when you're going through a patch of maybe you get a couple of injuries to a couple of key players, you get a couple of bad results, a couple of draws that you probably should have won, a couple of losses that probably should have been draws. when that because okay, put it this way. You've not had a patch that are like the kind of patch Arsenal are going through right now, basically. Like the results, Arsenal have got 1 point from 9 games. When Liverpool are in a situation later on in the season where you get 1 point from 9 games, how you respond and and when things aren't so merry, we will see the Liverpool team. We will see who Liverpool really are. But it's just too early in the season. Like, we're 25% into the season. Like, and I remember we did this 2 years ago with Arsenal, when Arsenal were top of the league. We started the season off so well, and people were saying, "Oh, Arsenal are going to win the league. We're not going to get caught." And I said it from the jump. Come back to me in April or May. Come back to me in business end. Like, it's nice to pick up these results now, but it only takes one bad week of a game on a Saturday, a game on a Wednesday, a game on a Saturday, when the fixtures are coming back to back in the Prem, particularly in that Christmas period, in the Jan periods, and then suddenly a 7-point lead is suddenly 1 point, and we're thinking, where's all this hard work and all these results that we've picked up and all these points we've accumulated? Now my ops are tired. Now my ops are basically a couple of points behind us. So for me, I just need Liverpool fans to. I mean, you know what? If you man wanna, to your heart's content, in it, if you man wanna say this and that and mind the gap and all that, have at it, man. Have at it, man. All I'm just saying is nothing has been won right now, and to be hunted is not an easy thing to do. Do you know what I mean? And now you have the target on your back, because Arsenal know we have to improve, and Arsenal know we have to grind out results. Everybody are coming after you. So, hey, man, like I said, don't slip up now and don't drop that lead, in it, man, because it's not going to get any easier from here. So
all I'm saying is that, first of all, Liverpool fans, or like me at least, like I'm not saying that we're gonna go and win the league. I'm saying come back to me after the City game, and then I'll have a concrete answer to you in regards to us, or in regards to me saying yes, we will win the league. We will definitely challenge. But for me, in terms of we have to temper our expectations, definitely not. I don't agree with that at all. I don't agree with we haven't faced adversity, because first of all, it's not by force to face adversity. If you're facing adversity,
that's down to you, Andy. Bro. I promise you, it's by force to face adversity, because no team goes through a season without facing adversity.
Hold on. It's not by force. We won the league without facing adversity. When we won the league, we didn't face any adversity at all. So
you're comparing. No, you're comparing. Also, you're comparing what when you won 27 out of the first 28 games. That's not
Thank
this.
you.
Put it this way.
Thank
That's
you.
not this.
You don't know that. You don't know that.
All right,
You're
bro.
just hoping.
Oh,
You don't
Andy,
know that.
more than
You
you
don't know
believe, I
that.
know
No,
that.
hold
But
but
that's
let
not
me
this.
land, bro. Let
Go
me
on,
land.
go on,
I'll let you
go on.
speak. Let me speak. I'll
Go
let
on.
you speak. First of all, in terms of like the adversity that you're speaking of, it's not by force. It's not by force. My team and these sets of players have won 27 out of 28 before, and they can easily they can do it again. They can do it again. Second of
Everything
all,
I know and love.
I do feel like we face adversity, but in-game adversity. Even the loss against Nottingham Forest at home in the manner that could have been, we've reacted brilliantly to that. Liverpool should be given
Andy,
listen.
Respectfully,
Listen, we should be given the credit. We should be given the credit, and Arne Slot especially should be given the credit in the way he has managed the team, in the way that he has managed these games, and the way he's managing the games in game as well. Because let me tell you, if the Arsenal game and the Brighton game, these two games, if this was on the clock, I promise you we would have lost both games. I promise you we would have lost. If this was Klopp last season, we would have lost both games. This Brighton game, we would have lost that because he wouldn't have changed anything about our tactics. He wouldn't have done it. Klopp wouldn't have done anything. He would have just said, keep pressing, keep counter pressing, and all that bullshit. We would have lost that game. Against Arsenal, we would have lost the game as well. Arne Slot, he changes it up. He's happy to drag you. If you're playing shit, he will drag you. If he needs to move things about and change, you know what was a masterstroke? You didn't watch the full game, but we basically played 4-2-4, and that's what changed the game. He removed Szoboszlai thing and put on another attacker, and we played 4-2-4. So we played with all of our available attackers. Go and win the game, bro. Controlled, but go and win the game. And that's what I need from my gaffer. That's what I need from my gaffer. So to say,
respectfully, the adversity you're talking about and the adversity I'm talking about, it's not the same, my brother.
I know it's different.
Unfortunately, you've not had a situation where you're controlling the game and then suddenly somebody taps the ball away 2 inches, and then you get a red card in the middle of the game, and the game gets turned on its head. And then you go to the Etihad, you're a goal down. Forrest. You go to my brother. Hold on. That's bro. The only adversity in that game was the fact that you lost the game. There was no actual situation where, you know what, we were a bit unlucky here, and now we have to respond and bounce back. You've not had multiple games.
What are you talking about? We lost. Andy, we controlled the game. They hit us on a soccer punch.
Andy,
we're playing at home.
I don't think. Okay, and you know what it is? When adversity hits, when I personally think adversity hits Liverpool, I will be sure to let you know in it, because me personally, I don't feel as if you've had that yet. You've not had your basically second best player go down. You've not had your best centre back. And don't get me wrong, some of that stuff is self-inflicted. I understand that.
Alisson, our best striker, going down. Like, come on, come on,
Andy,
man.
Andy, hear me out.
What are we talking about? We're playing with Keller, you know. It's not Alisson. It's not the best goal in the world.
I'm not saying that Jota is not a big miss. I'm not saying that Alisson is not a big miss. These are huge misses. I'm just saying when you and again, this is self-inflicted, obviously, because Saliba did it to himself. But when you come into a game where unfortunately your centre back reacts very, very quickly, and rightfully so, gets sent off, and you end up losing a game that you probably should win, and then the next game you're struggling, and then you're losing a bit of your identity in the middle of the season. That's when you will be going through adversity, bro. I genuinely think.
But like I said, that particular scenario, that's not by force, bro.
I agree.
I don't want to go through it. We don't need to go through it, bro.
I understand that it's not by force. I'm just saying that it happens. It's not gonna happen. It's not, bro. Not all adversity is the same. All I'm just saying to you is that everybody has a period in the season where they go. Like, I don't feel as if you can say that it's at any time in the season it's been a period where you're going through stuff. Arsenal are going through a situation right now which is very
mostly
dire.
It's self-inflicted, bro.
And I understand that. And I understand
your manager. It's self-inflicted. You can't put that on my gaffer and our team and tell me, "Oh, I can't wait till you go through this as well."
All I'm saying is, it comes in different iterations, and yours can also be self-inflicted. It might not be right now. It might not be till December. It might not be till Jan.
Let's see when that happens, innit? But But let's
All
deal
right.
with the evidence that we have now. Let's deal what we have now. And, you know, we're currently the team, the most informed team, best team in the league, conceded six goals, I think, in the league, collectively best defense. So we're doing what we're supposed to do. And people thought that obviously in this particular period, we would have our difficult games. We will start losing games. That hasn't happened so far neither. But obviously we're still in that period. It's not done yet. So let's see what happens in it. But it was a good win. Good to come back. Good to change the game on its head. 2-1. We didn't follow the script of City and Arsenal. I know the football gods really wanted that to happen, but that didn't happen. So yeah, man. 2-1 win, top of the league. 2 points ahead of City. And then the other game, Nottingham Forrest versus West Ham. West Ham, Lopetegui. I don't know. He should be the next one to leave. But Nottingham Forest, man. 3-0 home win, man. Ola Aina. He's on my bench. FPL. 15
Come on,
points
boy.
chilling.
15, man.
points
Clean
chilling.
15 points for me, boy.
Oh, you got that, yeah?
Yeah, come on, G. Something
Yeah,
light, man.
he's on my bench, man. But Nottingham Forest, third, man. And they're the only team that beat us so far. They have the second best defense in the league. 14 goals scored as well. What have you made of Nottingham Forest? Because from the games that I'm seeing, they're a very, very tough team to beat. They're not light.
Extremely tough team to beat, man. And for me, what I'm seeing from Forest is essentially what I want to see from Arsenal, which is basically being astute defensively. Like, that's where it all starts from. Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel as if Nuno got a very, very tough time at Tottenham. You could argue maybe that job was too big for him, and maybe he is like a mid-level sort of manager. But what he's doing at Forest is unbelievable right now, man. Like, he's turning water into wine. I think Chris Wood has like 7 league goals, bro. Like 7 or 8 league goals. Like, what are we really doing here, man? But for me, at the end of the day, they are a very, very good defensive team. They don't give up many goals. And so they're always competitive and they're always in games. And that's why that's exactly what I need from Arsenal to get back to. Like, it starts from the back, man. It starts from the back. Yeah. Like, Forest can't be third if they concede more. Like, if they're conceding like all over the gaff. You know what I mean? It's impossible. It's impossible.
Yeah. For real. And then Southampton got their first win as well of the season. 1-0 win against Everton. Armstrong with the goal. Evening game on Saturday was Wolves versus Crystal Palace, which ended in a 2-2 draw. Wolves still finding their feet, trying to get their first win. It's looking dire for O'Neill at the moment. And Spurs, man, with a big win against Aston Villa. I don't think not many people expected that. Definitely not from the first half showing. But they ended up beating Villa 4-1. Solanke with 2 goals. Johnson and Maddison. Maddison, brilliant free kick. That free kick was nice, man. Bend it around the wall.
The wall was higgy, but it was a good free kick still.
It was a good free kick, man. And that moves Spurs up 2 points of 4th place. So I think like the points gap between 4th and 10th is 3 points. So it's extremely tight at the moment. 10 games in, like Toe said. But mess around, man, and you're in that top 4 battle, my G. You're in the Gaza with them, man, my G. Mess around. Hey, and I'm not going to lie. Like I said in the group chat, I'm not putting it past Arsenal. Based on what I've seen from Arsenal right now, I'm not putting it past Arsenal to relinquish the challenge in it. But the next games, Chelsea and Nottingham Forest, show me in it. Show me the Arsenal of the last 2 seasons. The first loser Arsenal. Show me that Arsenal. If you can't show me that, if you're not collecting 6 points from those 2 games, hey, just leave it to the original Dons, innit? City, Liverpool. Let's leave it to us and take a back seat, man.
City pool, yeah? Because I know you Liverpool fans love to run that, innit? That
City pool, man. Yeah, take a back seat, man. It was a good run that you man had. Let's move on, man. Obviously on Tuesday, it was the Balon Do'r. They crowned a new Balon Do'r winner. And obviously for this whole year, I mean, the start of the year was just the Jude Bellingham PR. Everyone thought Jude Bellingham was going to win. To be fair, he had a very good start, or very good season even for Real Madrid. In that false 9 position that he was playing, or whatever position he was playing. And then this was up until maybe like April. And then it was Vinny Jr. again, because he was doing this usual Champions League, you know what I mean? Bailing Real Madrid out in the Champions League. So then he became the favorite. And then obviously the summer tournaments happened. Jude Bellingham, yeah, he reached the final. He scored some clutch goals for England, but performance-wise, it was nowhere to be seen. Vinicius Junior, same thing. For Brazil, performance-wise for his country in the Copa America, tired. Rodri was the one that, he stood tall for his country. He had to sit it out second half in the final, but from that point onwards, people looked at Rodri as like the favorite for the Balon d'Or. But then, obviously, the season started. It was still a VR. It looked like a VR Junior, Vinny Junior, sorry, Vinny Junior d'Or, man. And obviously, most of us would have loved to see that. But then on the day itself, we hear like the sheet leaked. So it leaked, and it said like obviously Rodri and the Vinicius Junior second. Madrid send out a message that they're not coming. They're not coming to the thing because
they says stop putting oil in the private jet, man. We're not coming, Joe.
But we're not coming, man, because if Rodri is qualified to win it, then you should give it to Carvajal. You're not respecting us. Meanwhile, they won Team of the Year and Manager of the Year. But anyways, first of all, what do you make of Madrid not coming to the ceremony? And I know maybe there's something larger at play between UEFA and Madrid, but just from what we know, what do you make of it?
If I'm honest, I've tried to stay away from the whole kind of Ballon d'Or jazz because for me, I just think it's child's play. It's absolutely silly. From a perspective of Madrid not actually coming, it is laughable. I'm not gonna lie. It's one of those ones where they're such a decorated team, obviously from Champions Leagues and previous Ballon d'Or winners. Please respect like the integrity of football. Do you know what I mean? Please respect the integrity of the decision that has been made, and don't be sore losers, because when the Benzemas and the Ronaldos and the Zidanes and all these players have been picking up Ballon d'Ors, like we weren't hearing any complaints. You were happy to attend every year you were winning. So the one year you feel like you should have won, rightly or wrongly, now's not the time to start whinging and start bitching and be like, no, we're not gonna come. Like, bro, unfortunately, it's no one's birthright to win the Ballon d'Or. So you need to take your come to the ceremony, take your medicine. Like the many times that Ronaldo and Messi were going back and forth, and we didn't always know every year who was gonna win it. And you had to see, for a lot of the time, them man sitting next to each other, and the camera's panning to one's face, the camera's panning to another. One picks it up, and one just has to clap and be gracious. Like, be gracious in defeat as well as being gracious in victory. That's my whole thing. But having said that, if I'm going to play devil's advocate, for me, and it's maybe something I probably need to look into more, but I would like to see a bit more transparency in terms of how Ballon d'Or is decided. I feel as if we're so like far, like we've come so far in football that maybe we need to decide it by a metric. Maybe we need, and when I say a metric, in terms of like not just objectively, but this guy's team won this trophy. I feel as if they should kind of come up with some sort of metric which actually makes it fair.
There are three metrics. There are three metrics that they announced. Hold on.
Yeah.
Announced for Balon d'Or. I think there was three. I think one of them was like obviously your performance, individual performance, team performances, of course, and then just the third one, which is a bit dubious for me, but like the player's character. So like fair play, how you are on the pitch, stuff like that.
For me, Andy, like the individual performance one, fine. I can't say enough about Rodri, and obviously I understand that Spain won the tournament. Obviously I understand that Man City have dominated, obviously won the league last year. But my issue is, can I say, like, hand on heart, is Rodri the best player in the world and therefore deserves to win Balon d'Or, or has been the best player in the last 12 months? I don't necessarily know if I can say that. I personally feel as if there has to be more specific. Like, okay, I feel as if Balon d'Or's been messed up anyway, because like in the previous years, I feel as if it became a bit of a joke of an award. And that's not honestly me being salty about the Ronaldo and the Messi situation. It's come and gone. There was a year, for instance, right, that Virgil van Dijk, in my opinion, should have won it. I think it was 2019. I think he ended up finishing second. I personally think he should have won it that year. And then there was another year that I personally think that Lewandowski should have won it. But then I saw Jorginho, who granted, I think it was the year Chelsea won the league.
Champions League.
The Champions League. He ended up finishing third. And then we all know the year that Modric won it, where again a lot of people said that Cristiano Ronaldo was robbed. And if you're going to say fine, I think Croatia got to the final. Real won the Champions. Croatia got to the final of the World Cup. Real won the Champions League, but Croatia didn't win the final. Do you know what I mean? So for me, I need a clearer metric about what criterias from an individual perspective needs to be checked to say, you know what, you're going to rank this many points to be in the running for a Balon d'Or. And for me, it's just still it's great. It's great right now. I'll be so real with you, Andy. Like, if Vinny Jr. had won the Balon d'Or this year, I don't think anyone would have said it was a robbery. You know?
Yeah.
If Rodri has won it, and I can say, you know what, he probably deserves it, but it could have gone either way. So for me, I just need to see a little bit more clarity in terms of what's actually going into the decision behind who wins it, because then you won't have as many shocks. It'll be like, you know what, this person did X, this person did X, this person did X. This is your Ballon d'Or winner, and it's clear.
I think either way, you're gonna have shocks, right? In terms of like when it's like this close, in terms of like people, especially nowadays, if you remove Messi and Ronaldo, because now there are no standout players. Now we're gonna see every season, we're probably gonna see different Ballon d'Or winners. So therefore, the points, because they are voted by these three metrics and they are voted by journalists, and they're gonna obviously put names and points, whatever. I don't know how they score the points, but it's voted by like 100 journalists across Europe, or across the world. I don't know. And then they score the points. But obviously, if you have like, because what they said was Jude Bellingham and Danny Carvajal got a lot of points as well, which probably should have gone to Vinny Jr. and that probably checked it for Vinny Jr., to be fair. And I kind of get that. I can see that. You know what I mean? I can see why 20% of the journalists would have voted for what's his name? Bellingham. A certain percentage voted for Danny Carvajal. Then a large percentage voted for Vinny Jr. But then the other part has all gone to Rodri. Rodri will win. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think I think in that sense it's a bit tight. It's very tight at the moment. But I definitely agree with you. Real Madrid and Vinny Jr., they should have been gracious. Although I did hear that it wasn't Vinny Jr.'s decision. He would have put up regardless, but it was the club that was just bitter. They just think they're larger than everyone.
Yeah, mafia them, man.
Yeah, you know how Real Madrid goes, man. But I definitely feel like, either one of them deserved it. Would have loved to see Vinny Jr., man. I want to see a dark-skinned man lift up that Balon d'Or, man. Obviously, we know George Weah, but I was too young for that, so I was begging for Vinny Jr. And I do believe Vinny Jr. is the best player in the world. He's been for like two, three seasons, in my opinion. But Rodri, man, you can't deny what he's done. Also for 2 years, in my opinion. So shout out Rodri, man, and congratulations to him and Man City. That's also the first time in a long time that a Premier League player has won it as well.
Has won it, yeah. No, is it the last time since Ronaldo?
Right?
Ronaldo.
Ronaldo. Sorry, Ronaldo. Yeah.
Oh, wait, but even still, I mean, that's a long time ago. It's like 16 years ago.
That's a long time, man. They don't like the Prem like that. So that's a coup in itself, man. So yeah, shout out them, man. Let's head to the bar, man. Any shots?
I don't have a shot, but I have remembered the quote that I said earlier that I said I was gonna say, and the full quote is, "Don't write checks that your body can't cash." That's the most simple way of putting it, because it's all well and good. You're being on your high horse. You're saying Arsenal are not going to come back. People are sending me screenshots of the league table, but Liverpool have to go out and do it. It's still 28 games to go. So I'm going to leave it at that, man, innit, man? Don't write checks your body can't cash, innit, man? Like, that's to say, don't get ahead of yourself, innit, man, and end up with egg on your face come May. Because we know what happened last time. And whatever you man want to say about what you've seen from Slot and Klopp's shortcomings, this, that, let's stop. And man, you man were moving crazy this weekend, man. I'm hearing people saying that Slot's about to go and achieve the stuff that Klopp achieved and more. Like,
who said that,
bro?
I didn't say
I think
that.
that's what Ken said, bro. Like, bro, nothing's written, bro. Slot might end his Liverpool career without a league title and without a Champions League, bro. So for me to be hearing all of that sort of talk after 10 games, I'm sorry, it's not justified. In my opinion, it's not. But we'll see, man. We'll see.
Yeah, facts, man. For me, yeah, I do have a shot, to be honest. My shot goes out to Arne Slot. You probably don't want to hear it, but unlike Kenner and them, man, Slot's been my gaffer for at least 5 seasons. Coach Feyenoord. He turned water into wine, literally, over there. And I know it's the Eredivisie, but Feyenoord are the 3rd team in the Netherlands. And yeah, he's put us there, basically. Won us a league title, won us a cup, reached the Conference League final, reached the Europa, reached the Champions League. We got knocked out in the Champions League, but we played really well against all the teams, but we were just extremely unlucky. So for me, him coming and him, if you even see my tweets going back before Klopp even announced, I kept saying Slot. You know what I mean? Slot is my next gaffer at Liverpool. Slot is my next gaffer, and it's coming to fruition. And I'm saying this to say this, that I've seen this manager ever since he coached AZ. He took over from the manager, got sacked, took over AZ. This guy has not faced adversity in his career, like, at all. I remember a journalist asked him that exact same question. Like, you never experienced like failure, so to speak, other than obviously the European knockouts and losing in the final. Like, domestically, you've always done what you had to do with your teams. And he's like, yeah, I've never experienced it. It might happen in the Premier League, but I've never experienced it. So this is a gaffer that he's on his P's and Q's, basically. That's what it shows. He's allergic to, not allergic to failure, but like he wants to diminish failure by all means necessary. You know what I mean? And I've seen it firsthand. So my confidence in my gaffer, listen, I know it's the Prem. My confidence in my gaffer comes from what I've seen him do with my club and other clubs as well. Now, what I've seen from him so far at Liverpool is nothing short of, for me at the moment, impressive in terms of like, one, it's not his team, so he's just using Klopp's team and trying to make it work. I know that, you know, some players that are in our team that are not his type of players, but he's trying to make it work. And like the way he's managing in the Prem, the way he's like facing in-game adversity and turning it around. He's the most successful Liverpool manager in the first 10 games. So that's with Shankly, Paisley, Klopp. You have to give him his ratings for that, no matter what the context is. You have to give him his ratings for what he's doing so far. Now, will that result into anything tangible at the end of the season? We'll have to wait and see. But so far, my shot goes out to Slot because this guy, he's doing a good job so far, man.
I know it's a shot, but I just have one very, very quick question. If Liverpool finish, let's say 3rd from where you are currently right now, what will you attribute that to, if that happens, hypothetically?
If we finish 3rd?
If you finish 3rd. And I'm just talking about based on everything you've said so far in terms of your expectations about Arsenal, in terms of what you've seen from Slot, in terms of how, if you guys finish 3rd, what would you attribute that to?
I would. Would I call it a failure? That's a very good question. I don't know. It would depend on how the season goes. Like you said, your version of adversity, injuries. Like, what is the reason that we've City are 2nd with 2 points behind, so we could finish 2nd, and I wouldn't be super mad. That would be a good season for him, in my opinion. But if, let's say, Arsenal finishes 3rd, or Nottingham Forrest, Chelsea, Spurs, whoever finishes 3rd, I'll finish 2nd ahead of us, and we finish 3rd, then something must have gone really wrong, in my opinion. That's how high I put the bar for Arne Slot. Something must have gone wrong in the season because we're 6 points ahead of 6 points ahead of Forest, I think. Yeah, 6 points ahead of Forest.
I only worry about me and City, boy.
Huh?
I only worry about me, Arsenal.
Yeah, I know.
City,
I know, of course. But right now, at the moment, Forest are like 6 points ahead. So you man, you're obviously the next best team. You're 7 points ahead. I already said in the group chat, I don't see you, man, clawing that back. I can see you, man, challenging and coming, but I don't see you, man, coming ahead of us. So if that happens, the serious questions need to be asked in terms of what actually happened. And that means that's probably the adversity that you'll speak of. That's probably happened somewhere in the season if that happens, finishing third. But I don't see that at this point.
The beauty of football is if that happens, I will. You'll be the first witness that I call to the stand. You'll be the first witness that I call to the stand.
That's fine.
And that's why I'm saying that you man should just take time currently and let's see how things play out. As a wise Norwegian once said, in it, man, stay humble, eh? Stay humble. So, all right, man.
Hey,
we'll
man.
see.
With that being said, man, thank you very much for joining us, Toast. Like, subscribe, share, do what you need to do. Watch, share with your family, your parents, your mama, your daddy. Been a long episode, man, but you know, Toast, the top gooner, he's gooning again, gooning away, not taking any responsibilities, just excuses upon excuses. And me, I say hi on my throne. By the way, I finished my tears on my enemies.
All right, man.
It tasted sweet. It
Say
tasted
no more.
nice. Until next week, hopefully Strizza and Mace can join us. See you then. Peace.
In a bit.